a visitarnos con nuevo material discográfico. Les ha ido increíble, un verdaderísimo placer poder platicar con Franz Ferdinand. First of all, it's an honor. Thank you very much for your time in this interview.
Thank you.
How do you feel back here in Mexico?
Oh, very excited. Very glad to be here.
How can you describe the first time that you were here?
Yeah, it was great. I remember the gig very well because we played every single song we knew how to play in the world at that time. Because and the audience was so good, such good energy, such good life, and ever since then, great.
Cool. Now, talking about this album, what could be the biggest challenge about making this album?
I don't know. It was actually quite an enjoyable process. I mean, the challenges, if there were any, they were enjoyable. I guess it was trying to make a fun record, which is kind of a fun thing to do.
The big one here in Latin America, right? Action. What's a little bit the story behind that song?
Oh, right. So that came about. I was in London, and there's a famous flea market in London called Brick Lane, and it's kind of a market where you see people's old estates are sold. You know, their old belongings are kind of sold off, and there was a collection of postcards. And somebody had obviously been traveling around the world, going to good places and galleries and things like that, and they were all blank apart from this one postcard. And I bought the postcard because I loved the message on it. It said, "Come home." And I took it around to Nick's and I said, "I love this postcard. It's such an amazing message. We should make a song out of it," because the message is confusing. It seems simple at first. It's actually quite complicated. It's like, it seems very positive. Come home. Practically all, nearly forgiven. You know, it's not quite isn't quite forgiven. And I know if I got that message, and so the song was about, like, you know, to me that sums up so many situations in life where you don't quite know what the situation is. I said, well, how do you deal with those situations with as positive a way as you can? Right thoughts, right words, and right action.
With the idea of this video?
Yeah, our friend Dan Martel, who also directed our video for "Do You Want To" a while ago. Yeah, I guess she just kind of bombarded us with hundreds of emails of thousands of ideas for, like, it's kind of like schlocky horror thing, and we kind of put our 2 pence in and kind of ended up with that.
I mean, the idea was to sort of like do not a pastiche, but an homage to all those kind of great trashy VCR. It's a pretty great. My favourite part in the video is where Bob is gnawing on it's an arm, isn't it? Not a leg. Yeah, it's an arm. A human arm.
It's awesome. Kind of are you a big gore movie fan? Or not the much?
I like a little bit of gore in my life, but I'm not obsessed with it.
Cannibal Holocaust, really good one. It's Italian from the same really good one. Yes. Talking about what's next, I know that you are really busy promoting this album, but you already start the creating process of new songs?
You know, like we all like writing, and we all like doing things, and there's a couple of things that we've been working on, even recently as well, and I suspect that the next project that we do might be a little bit different from a regular Franz Ferdinand record. But I can't say anything more too early.
But it changed a lot with all the internet, all the social network, the way that music is promoted. Do you think it's harder to maintain consistency as a band?
I think if you are consistent, then it's not difficult to maintain consistency. You know, if you're consistent in your work and your attitude, I think it's only if you're trying to hide something that it's hard to be consistent.
But do you think that right now music fans, they're not that big of a fans that probably 10 years before that they were waiting like 5 years for an album of his favorite band, and right now you have like day after day like 1,000 new songs of different bands from around the world? Yeah,
that's true, but I know for me, I can just judge it only from the approach that I take to music. Like, if I love a band, I love them the rest of my life. You know, like there's bands that I was into when I was 12 that I still love now. You know, and even for us as a band as well. You know, we've definitely tested our fans. You know, like there was quite a long break between this album and the one before, and that's why it's incredible to think that when we come back somewhere like Mexico or traveling around the world, people have been waiting for us. And even when we flew in tonight, an hour ago, there was so many people waiting at the airport. It's really touching.
Cool. And that it's amazing to feel the response of the crowd year after year around the world. If they don't have like different language, it doesn't matter.
It's true, isn't it? Like the roar of a crowd is a language of its own.
Your band. You used to do a a little clips called sound bites about food
yes,
around the world. Do you have plans to do a volume 2?
I don't think so. You know, I really used the food writing to talk about where I was, and I think we all like to do things when we're on tour. And at the moment, I've got into photography again, and so I've been taking photographs instead of writing. But it's good to kind of keep a record of where you've been. Sure.
Your opinion about Mexican food?
Oh, I love it. It's one of my favourite cuisines.
In fact, right after we speak to you, we're going out to eat as much Mexican food as we can.
I can't believe that I haven't been given a margarita yet. I've been here nearly an hour.
I know.
Talking also, I read that you narrate a documentary about Kraftwerk.
That's right, yeah.
Tell us a little bit, what is the thing that you admire most about Kraftwerk?
What do I like about Kraftwerk? You know, to me, I know that they were a hugely progressive band and they revolutionized the sound of music. But you know, there's lots of people who do that, yet when you listen to their music, you just understand it intellectually.
Yeah.
For me, I find Kraftwerk's music very emotional, very moving music, and there's this kind of almost cold delivery which gives it a great, I don't know what's the word, pathos, like there's a real melancholic beauty to it.
Yeah. You have won different really big awards like Mercury Prize, like Ivor Novel Award. Do you care that much about awards as a band?
When you write music, you definitely don't think about awards.
Yeah, it's not the reason that you got the band together. Never expected to, win awards. It's not why you do it.
I quite like the ceremonies sometimes. If you go and there's a bunch of people that you know and like you have a bit of a laugh, well, that's kind of fun, sure.
About writing music that you're talking right now, when you have a mind block, like a writer's block, how do you try to move on?
Oh, it's easy. You do something different. You know, if you sit at the table and you kind of go, I can't write, then you stop writing, you go away. Sometimes it just means like making a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. It might mean going for a cycle, or it might mean going away for a weekend somewhere and then coming back. But you just go away, then do it again. But you have to make sure you also force yourself into the situation where you write. And do something for inspiration. Read a book, and watch a film, hang out with people who are stimulating.
So if you do another kind of artistic expression, it helps you to like breathe of your project.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. About what's next, I mean, of course, right now, a really good way of promotions are video games or commercials. Are you agree, not agree?
I agree that a lot of music is promoted through commercials and video games in a way that it wouldn't have been when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's just like a different way. It's like instead of a radio station, radio's less popular. In the UK, there's less specialist radio, I guess, on the main channels. And I've spoken to fans who have found out about our band through playing a computer game, and then that's amazing. And then they're kind of like, they go and explore and they listen to your records, and it's just another way of like reaching people.
I know, I do like that, like in Grand Theft Auto, like the car radios playing a song or something. That's kind of cool, Like,
and I think the Guitar Hero is better the kids trying to gimmick a guitar player that Dancing Barney.
It's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Totally
why not enjoy it? Sure.
At some point, there is a movie about Franz Ferdinand. Which two shows has to be in the movie?
Which two shows? The first show we ever did, and the last show we're ever going to do.
So tell us about that first show.
The first show, it was at our friend Celia's flat. Celia and Joe were two friends of ours that were at art school with Bob, and we played in Celia's bedroom. We had about 4 songs. We had 4 songs that we could play, and 20 people were there, maybe 20 people. All of them were our friends, and it was terrifying because playing songs for the first time is difficult, but playing in front of your friends is really difficult. But it went really well. And we played the 4 songs again. So we played 8 songs altogether.
And sometimes they're the hardest judges, your friends, your family.
They're mean.
Describe a Mexican crowd.
Oh, man. Life. Full of life, Full of life. Very warm crowd as well, They seem to relate well to the emotional side of the songs, and maybe a little sentimental in a good way as well, you know, but good energy, like oh yeah, you know. I remember last time we were here was for the Corona Rocks Festival, and audience went crazy. It was amazing, yeah. And of course, you love that as a band. That's what you want, isn't it? You know, you want to see that kind of response.
And it's great because a lot of bands that I interviewed, they always say the same about Mexican crowd, that it's all full of passion.
Yeah, it totally is. So, but also a very loyal crowd as well. Our fans over here, I have to say thank you to our fans over here. Because when we haven't been playing, we get messages all the time on Twitter and to the band site and things. Just, you know, people from Mexico are just showing their love and their support.
Cool.
It's great.
Now, talking about your last single, Fresh Strawberries. Tell us a little bit the story behind that song.
Ah, okay. You know, there are some songs that just kind of happen like that, and that was one of them. Nick had this little descending line on the guitar that he was playing in the park outside his flat in London, and he started playing it, and then suddenly this idea came to my head, and it was the lines about the chorus, the wouldn't it be easy with something to believe in that could give us more than here's my work, so where's my pay to buy what I don't need? Wouldn't it be easy to believe? And I just sang it straight on top.
Thank you very much for this time in the interview.
Thank you, yeah.
And hopefully you're going to come back soon. Hopefully.
I hope so, yeah.
We
definitely.
hope so too.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Ya lo vieron, hermanos. Franz Ferdinand. Continuamos con más, no le cambien. Estamos aquí en Telehit.